Hi, guys. Welcome back to an early edition of Sports with Mono and Mono. I'm Jim, and I got Eli with me, of course. So thanks for joining us. For everyone who got up, everybody else who's still sleeping in can watch the show on YouTube and Facebook, of
On the
course,
man,
as
of
always.
course.
Right. So Eli, how you doing today? Good.
I'm doing great. I'm pumped. Today's a football game for St. Mary's. It's Hoko Day, homecoming day, and it's a great day in North Jersey. So you got to be loving it every single moment.
Excellent. So it's October 12th, and we were just talking. It's beautiful fall weather here in New Jersey for a lot of sports. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and we'll jump right into it. And of course, our monologue is sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York. And Eli, it's a topic I don't. It's one of those, like I said, we talked about Kyrie Irving, and I said I'm not talking about Kyrie Irving. I think this is one of those things, and this is the situation in New York with Aaron Rodgers and um, him denying. Listen, first and foremost, I don't think Robert Saleh was a good coach. I thought it was long overdue that he lost his job, but he lost his job specifically because Aaron Rodgers, and he came on the McAfee show and stated otherwise. He had nothing to do with this, but I couldn't. I just can't believe that he can go to Woody Johnson and say, fire this guy. And Woody Johnson does it. So we talked about him being the owner, the general manager, the quarterback, and the only one who has any say in how that team is run, but Aaron Rodgers. And it's not working out. So this is a perfect example of him trying to deflect responsibility for the terrible start that the Jets got off to. They're 2-3 under 500. Everybody's figured, oh, they got Aaron Rodgers. The Jets are going to the Super Bowl. Well, and I said it's not going to happen, and it's starting to come apart at the seams. So I'd love for people to give my comments if you think Aaron Rodgers didn't have anything to do with this. Think again, but I'd love to hear us. Send us comments or send us an email at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. But, this guy is really, he is such an egomaniac. And all he's trying to do is deflect responsibility for the season that the Jets are having. And that's our monologue for this week.
What I want to go into real quick is how is it Robert Saleh's fault that his quarterback threw 3 interceptions versus the Minnesota Vikings in London? Let's start
It's
with
not.
that first. How is it his fault? So how's he fired number one? Number two, their defense wasn't bad. The only struggles was the offense. And you know who's the play caller? That was Nathaniel Hackett. Why was Nathaniel Hackett not the one to go? Let's start with that. Number two, Hackett should have been the first one to go. I know Robert Saleh said in a couple of interviews that that was the plan to get rid of Hackett before they obviously fired Robert Saleh instead. By the way, Hackett was demoted now. He will not be the play caller going forward. But the defense wasn't bad. They weren't struggling as much. I'm so confused. Like, really, like
Well,
this
the
team
answer to
is
your the
fine with
answer to your
Robert Saleh.
yeah, the answer to your question is why wasn't Nathaniel Hackett fired? And that's because Aaron Rodgers
Rodgers.
wanted to keep Nathaniel
Correct.
Hackett. And I don't know about this whole play calling thing. You know what? Aaron Rodgers calls the plays anyway. So
Correct.
whatever figurehead they put out there, this is Aaron Rodgers' team, and
Aaron
he's going
Rodgers
to have
runs this New York Jets team. That's the bottom line. And we
100%.
know he 100% factored in to why Robert Saleh got fired. And he will not admit that on the Pat McAfee show. He will not admit that anywhere else. The bottom line is Aaron Rodgers fired Robert Saleh, and that's it. And they won't admit that in the truth, but that's the reason why. But again, how is it Robert Saleh's fault that your quarterback of Aaron Rodgers just threw 3 interceptions? That's my
That's
question.
it.
I'm still trying to figure out. And the biggest test will be Monday night versus the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and I hope they get run out of the building too, because I just want to see this
We'll
whole
see if he
thing
runs out with the
implode.
American flag, Jim. Monday night. Remember Monday night last year? American flag ran out. Who's the team? Buffalo Bills. Let's see. Will the
That's
American
right.
flag rain out tonight at MetLife Stadium? We'll be all eyes on that, of course.
You're absolutely right. But like I said, I would love to hear comments, but I'm not buying this one. Not one iota am I believing that Aaron Rodgers has nothing to do with this. And send us
Absolutely.
your thoughts, send us your comments, and I think you're spot on, Eli. by thinking about, Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett and, but it's,
We
you know
know
what?
it's his organization, and that's the bottom line. And I'm going to keep
Yep,
stressing it. How is it Robert Sala's fault that his quarterback threw 3 interceptions? It ain't,
that's
and
right.
that's why I'm blown away about that decision.
You're absolutely right. And we're going to talk more about football in a little bit, but let's move on and let's talk about the Major League Baseball playoffs. And it's exciting. If you're a Met fan, wow. I mean, Francisco Lindor has basically taken that team and carried them to the championship series. I mean, that was what a clutch grand slam it was. And he did. He handled himself. He didn't do the bat flip, but that was a great moment for the Mets, and they move on. And based on we didn't know who they were going to play until last night, and the Dodgers beat the San Diego Padres 2-0. And listen, Yu Darvish pitched a great game for San Diego, but Yamamoto pitched a better game for the Dodgers, and they had 2 clutch hits. So I think this lines up great. This is a great series that we get to see Shohei Ohtani, in prime time. This is going to be the first time that, we've gotten a chance to see him really for the most part on consistent basis because he played for, a lousy Angels team for many years and they never made the playoffs. So, you want those kind of players to be in this postseason, and it's a great matchup.
I'm going to keep stressing this. When will the contract be extended for Pete Alonso? Yes, absolutely. Lindor had a big factor in the Mets' success, obviously with that big grand slam in game number 4. But if you looked at the previous games in this series, it was Alonso with home runs. So you cannot forget about what Pete Alonso has done in this postseason. If you look at the top 2 guys from the Mets right now, it is Pete Alonso and, of course, Francisco Lindor. And absolutely, this Mets team is driving to success. Shocked that the Dodgers had to force Game 5 yesterday. A big win for them yesterday, 2-0 over the Padres. It's going to be a really great series to see. Game 1 is tomorrow at 8:15 on Fox. Monday will be Game 2 at 4:08 p.m. on Fox. I mean, listen, these are 2 fantastic teams.
Yep.
I think the Mets will take care of business, though, over the Dodgers. That's my prediction for that series.
Okay. I'm going to go the other way. I think the bubble is going to burst. And listen, to
Absolutely.
your point about signing Pete Alonso, I think there was a big question about that until he came up big in the postseason. So basically, the Mets don't have any choice but to sign him again. So he'll get his deal. He's not going to get Aaron Judge or Juan Soto money.
That's right, because it's not, you don't need that.
Right. But I think the Mets are hot, but I think the Dodgers with Shohei Ohtani, this is showtime as they call it, right? So it's a
Absolutely.
great matchup, right?
And if
And
you look,
let's move on. Let's talk about the American League. And before we went on the air, you and I were talking about you have some concerns about the Yankees and
I
some
do.
legitimate concerns because I mean they're not hitting right now.
It's concerning.
Garrett Cole, bailed them out by pitching a great game in Game 5, or actually it was Game 4. They win the series 3-1. Bobby Witt Jr. didn't have a great series, so they didn't really stand a chance. But so now the Yankees are going to play. We don't know who, whether it's going to be Cleveland or Detroit. But I'm not worried really about the Yankees. I think they'll turn it up a notch. They're going to the World Series just like we predicted, before the playoffs started. And you know what? There is potential for a Subway Series. That would be kind of cool. We haven't had one since 2000 in 2000 actually. So
Yeah. Well,
but
here's my
you know,
concern for the Yankees. I mean, you look at Aaron Judge, and I always throw out his name because when you think of the New York Yankees right now, the first name that comes to mind is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge has done nothing this postseason run. You look at the regular season, 58 home runs. He's led it all. He's the star player. I mean, nonetheless. But the sad part is not a single home run. He's got a walk so far. He's gone on base, but not great, though. He was struggling. And so is the rest of the Yankees players. If you look at the team such as the Mets and what they did versus the Phillies, they're able to hit grand slams, home runs, get on base, get the ball out. The Yankees really been struggling. And I was actually nervous that they would have to force a Game 5, but luckily they didn't. But I'm really,
well,
like I said, concerned about this team. I really do hope they win because I would love to see a Subway Series, as you mentioned, if both the Mets and the Yankees do win their next round. But again, it's going to be tough, and we'll find out the answer today. The Detroit will take on Cleveland in Game 5, 108 on CBS. That was moved from 8 o'clock due to the weather in the area. And I think
Right.
also because of college football, but they don't want to say that part. But due to the weather, that's going to be moved earlier.
Well, when you think about what the Yankees and you're right. They won their series. They're going to the championship series, and Aaron Judge hasn't been producing. But you know what? What that means, this guy is too good of a player to not be able to show the world what a great baseball player he is. So they win the series. He doesn't hit. He's too good of a player. He will hit, and so I think that bodes well for the Yankees that they won without him producing. And of all things, Giancarlo Stanton, he's showing up as kind of a Mr. October, if you will. He's
Absolutely.
hot firecracker right now. But the rest of the lineup, it's going to have to be Soto, Judge, and Stanton because they don't really have a lot else. You can't count on these other guys, the Verdugos and
To
those
survive
guys.
and keep the Yankees going. Now,
Yeah.
my other concern is right now overall in the MLB, why are we celebrating with a champagne party every time you win a game? We talked about this in the monologue. Why? You celebrated the wild card. You celebrated this round. You're going to celebrate every single. Just get a champagne bottle for every time you win a game next season at this point. Really, this is absolutely ridiculous. Are we
Oh,
crazy? The amount of money we're spending on this,
that's
the amount of ridiculousness. I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that burns me up too. That these guys celebrated when they made the playoffs. They celebrated like they won the World Series after they won the wild card series. I mean, come on. You know what? We talked about this extensively, you and I. Pop the champagne when you win the World Series. That's when you go crazy.
Thank you.
But
what I want to know is, do you see any of the NFL doing that? No, you don't see the NFL doing that. Why is it just MLB?
They don't do it in hockey. They don't do it in any other sport.
They only do that in the championship, and NFL doesn't do it at all compared to the other two.
Yeah, unless they win the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Well, the Super Bowl, I haven't seen them do that, but still.
Oh yeah, they go crazy in the Super Bowl.
I don't know about that. I never seen like that.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
All right. So,
and also one more thing. Why is it that all the NFL games are scheduled when the New York plays? The Jets will play the same time as the Yankees do on Monday. We have the Mets playing the same time as the Giants do. It seems like they just want to see which New York team is going to get the whole view. I mean, really, what a competition.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that because I had a conversation. One of our loyal listeners, Frankie, actually brought this up a couple of times, saying the scheduling is just kind of almost head scratching. They're putting games on in the afternoon during the week, and you're right. So now they're going up against against Thursday night football. Like who watched the San Francisco Seattle game? Nobody.
I don't. Well, I don't have Prime, so I couldn't watch the game regardless.
Right, but the scheduling has been, and I guess this rests on Manfred, but. I mean, you got to get the games in, I guess. I don't know the right way.
Yeah, but the timing's off. I mean, you're playing on a Sunday afternoon. Why don't you play on a Sunday afternoon? Why are you competing with the same New York team? Same schedule, same time.
Good point. Very valid point. Yep. All right. So, Eli, let's we got some great series coming up and baseball, and we'll talk about it next week. And
let's go to college football.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is a big
day. The biggest game was Vanderbilt. A big upset over Alabama. The field goal post goes into the river. And what a big win, considering that Alabama had no shot, and yet they came out of the dark and won it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you look at last week and Alabama losing to Vanderbilt, which is one of the biggest upsets in my lifetime in college football, that was unbelievable that happened. Rutgers' perfect season got knocked off. They lost last week to Nebraska.
Yep.
Right. And also Michigan lost. So, I mean, it's college football is very, very unpredictable this season.
Correct.
And, but what a game too. There was another game. It was and I actually turned it off. It was Miami was losing by, like 20
Oh, to
some odd
Cal?
points to Cal. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
And
good game.
they came back and won it. And that was exciting as anything. And,
Yeah.
this week is great for college football.
Yeah.
Let's talk
I
about.
picked the 5 games that I want to look out for. These are my 5 choices. I said Texas, Oklahoma at 3:30 ABC, Penn State, USC at 3:30 on CBS, California, Pittsburgh, 3:30 on ESPN, Ohio
Yeah.
State, Oregon, 7:30 NBC, Ole Miss versus LSU, 7:30 ABC. My 5 games to watch out for today.
And I'm not saying this is, but I have my notes for today, and those are exactly the 5 games that I was going to bring up
See,
on the
we
show.
think alike, Jim. We don't even need to communicate anymore. We
I
know what to
know, but
predict.
I mean, I'm not kidding. Those are exactly the games. And
It's on the note. I'll show
Oklahoma,
you the sheet right here.
Oklahoma,
This
Texas.
is on the sheet right here. All 5 games right on this section of the notes. Right there. All righty. See, we got it. You don't see this, folks. You think we all know it all. We have everything hidden behind us. You don't see
Yeah.
it.
So
It's
listen,
all behind the action.
Oklahoma, Texas, the Red River rivalry, and the question
Absolutely.
is Quinn Ewers going to come back and play, or is it going to be Arch Manning? Always a great rivalry. I haven't missed an Oklahoma Texas game in almost in my entire life since I've been
Jeez.
walk.
And
But
the
you're right.
game days at University of Oregon today.
Yeah, but I think the number one game, the big game, is Ohio State, Oregon.
Yes, it is.
And this is the start. We've talked about this before about all of the conference realignments, and now you have Oregon in the Big Ten, so you have the first game of the rivalry. That's for the next 30 years. Ohio State will play guys like Oregon and USC. So at first I wasn't crazy about it, but now I like the fact that these are teams and rivalries that we haven't seen before that are going to be prominent going forward. And and Penn State, USC, another example of that, right? The Big Ten, USC, we always knew them as a West Coast Pac-12 team. Now they're in the Big Ten, and you're right. LSU, Ole Miss is another big game today. And Pitt, with Eli Holstein as the quarterback for Pitt, that's I think they can handle Cal. I think Cal's kind of got deflated, I guess, by losing that game.
But they came back. They had opportunities. I mean, they could
Yeah,
have won the game, absolutely, but they had opportunities. I mean, it should be a great game to watch. Hopefully, Cal does get a victory. They love their chance, especially with Pat McAfee was getting the crowd going last night with it and all that stuff. That was it was awesome seeing how electrical it was. Did you see the kick last week? I forgot to mention the kick.
What?
The Pat McAfee kicking contest.
No, I didn't. I don't watch it.
Well, I saw it, the clips and everything. The guy had Vans sneakers on. You know the Vans, the slippers, sneaker, whatever you call it.
Yep.
He had his Vans on. He made the kick. He missed the first kick. He made the second kick. He won himself $100,000, and $600,000 was donated to hurricane relief.
Nice.
It was pretty incredible, and just watching Kirk Herbstreit and Pat McAfee go crazy with the rest of the crowd, it was just that's what college football is all about. And as Pat McAfee said on the show, it's all about the magic, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and I think college game day today is in
Oregon.
Oregon, yeah.
Yep.
So, that's a pretty exciting time in college football right now.
Absolutely.
These rivalries, I love it. So let's see how those games pan out, and let's move on to the big boys,
Yes,
the
indeed.
National Football League, and
we have a lot of injuries. We really do. And I'm going to go through some of them. Michael Pittman Jr. out multiple weeks due to a back injury. Patriots, and it's not an injury. Patriots would bench Jacob Brissett. Drake May will start. Saints will start QB Spencer Rattler this Sunday versus Tampa Bay. Derek Carr will miss obviously a few games due to the oblique injury that he has. Rashid Rice out for the season, but it is not a torn ACL, which is the good news, but is out for the season. We'll see if he'll start for the playoffs, which I doubt he will. Devin White has been released by the Eagles. Ufanga from the 49ers will miss a month due to injury. And Russell Wilson returns back from injury to the practice field, but will not get the start yet for Pittsburgh. Raiders, Christian Wilkins is now on injured reserve due to an injury. And that's it. What a crazy time, really, in NFL with a lot of injuries, a lot of returns, and a lot of people out. And that was a crazy week, nonetheless. in that
Yeah, and
department.
there's also another disturbing story, and again, we talk about this constantly about these professional athletes making millions of dollars, and now you have Jabril Peppers, former Don Bosco, a Paramus
Yep.
Catholic guy, went to Michigan. Now he's on the Patriots. Another disturbing thing. And, Robert Kraft came out and said yesterday, if these allegations are true, and they really do appear to be, it's just like, what are these people thinking? Like, you have all this fame and wealth and all this stuff, and you go into the depths of human behavior, and it's just so disturbing to see. I mean, I watched this kid Peppers play in high schools many times. I actually watched
Absolutely.
him rush for over 360 yards against my beloved St. Joe's one time when he was with Paramus
Absolutely.
Catholic. So it's just so disturbing, and it just drives me crazy that the wealth and success of these guys is not enough for them. They're just not good human beings, and it's
And it's
really
horrible
bad.
to see, but that's just what we're seeing nowadays in the NFL, and it's horrible to see.
Right, we've seen this with the Ray Rice and all these other guys. It's just never ending. The deplorable behavior by these guys. So
Yeah.
that's my thoughts on that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, so let's talk about we of course we're gonna get
Last
into
Sunday was the longest day of football, 15 hours worth, and that was because we had the London game, a delay prior to the Pittsburgh game, and that was due to lightning/rain. And what a crazy week it was last week. I mean, I can go through some of the lists right now, and I could tell you it was crazy. Giants beat Seattle, and that was because of that blocked kick in that ending, which was wild. We had a 100-yard touchdown in that game. That was insane to begin with. The Cowboys somehow beat the Steelers by 3 points. That was crazy to see. Jets had 3 interceptions that game and were disappointing. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. Other games I'm going to look at. Bills were disappointing. They lose to the Texans 23-20. The Texans love to keep up these close games, but really, was that game disappointing for the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah,
Any
they're
other
they're
thoughts on
they're
that one?
they're kind of slumping a little bit after getting off to a great start. And yeah, this is a big game for them this week too against the Jets.
The Ravens have forced another overtime game, 41-30 was the final. The Ravens had the victory there. Dolphins just surpassed the Patriots 15-10. Commanders had a big win over the Browns, which the Browns, we know they've been struggling a lot. 34-13 was the final there. Panthers, we know that the Panthers, they took care of business. They lost to the Bears with no issues there. Jaguars won by 3 points. What a good game that was versus the Indianapolis Colts, 37-34 the final. Um,
Yeah.
Denver took a big victory over Las Vegas, 34-18. Denver showing they're in the driver's seat for the future. Arizona somehow beat San Francisco 24-23. Big game. But yet Thursday night football, defense was struggling for Seattle with a lot of guys out. Geno Smith,
Mhm.
not the answer. Thursday night, they lose to Seattle. The Seattle loses to San Francisco 36-24 in a crazy game. And the big other game was the Packers taking care of business to the Rams 24-19.
Well, I think there's for me there's really two teams that stand out right now for the way that they've come out of the gate, and that's you got to give Jaden Daniels a lot of credit because that Washington team the kid looks amazing. He looks like he's in charge. He knows what he's doing. He's aware of not turning the ball over, but you know what? He's got to be careful. He does a lot of running, and at some point that could catch up to you because you're going to take a beating by that. But what a great story for him to
He's
go in.
actually
We finally get rid of Daniel Snyder, and what a difference getting rid of a lousy owner and the mindset it changes for the Washington franchise. And they're in really good shape with him going forward. He's going to be a quarterback. He's going to be, like I said, this doesn't seem like it's just a fluke. He seems like he knows what he's doing, and he's committed. They say he's the first one to get to the practice field and the last one to leave, and that speaks volumes for what kind of
absolutely.
character he is. And
And this game will
and
be huge versus Baltimore because again, Baltimore's been struggling. They've been forcing a lot of overtime games and been losing these couple close games. So if really Washington can prove that they are for real and do beat the Baltimore Ravens, they are the front runners to win the NFC East. Considering the fact that Dallas has been struggling, Philadelphia's been struggling. Giants been struggling. Yes, they won their respective games. Yes, Philadelphia had a bye, but they would be the front runners of the division, even though it's
Yep.
early on in week number 6 in the NFL.
Yeah. And the other team, I think, obviously, is the Minnesota Vikings. They're 5-0, and Sam Darnold. And I don't think anybody, certainly I didn't foresee that happening. I
Yes,
mean,
and you know what the sad part is? Both those teams have a bye. The Chiefs and the Vikings. Both of them have a bye this weekend. They're both perfect. I did not see it coming, but listen, Sam Darnold seems to be the answer. And whatever the Vikings doing, it's working. And now they'll have big games coming up when they return back from their bye next week, which will be huge.
Yeah, and I think what's really also helping Minnesota is the fact that their defense is outperforming all expectations, and you got to give credit to Brian Flores for that. So the combination of the revitalization of Sam Darnold, but look, he's got Madison, he's got Jefferson, so he's got weapons, and their defense is they're hungry and they get turnovers, and it's all real good for those two teams right now.
Absolutely. And
so Eli, let's
happening
talk
in the
about
NFL before we get to the picks real quick. ABC will simulcast 6 more Monday Night Football games, probably due to the low ratings. I mean, it's not low, but it's not what it was last year. So I think that could be a reason why. Cam Newton will now be part of ESPN morning programming shows, includes Get Up, First Take, and all that. Not a big fan of that one. I mean, he was on First Take yesterday, and well, he was struggling.
I actually saw it, and I go, at first I didn't know who it was, and then I go, oh, Cam Newton. This guy. He's all about Cam Newton, and I really don't care what he has to say. I think that's a bad choice by ESPN because I'm not going to watch it. So
absolutely. And the final note here is Carrie Underwood. Obviously, she performs the Sunday night anthem. She gets paid $1 million each show for singing the Sunday night anthem, which is $18 million a regular season, not including the 2 Thursday night games, not including the playoffs. So that is just absolutely insane. Can you believe that?
Well, let me ask this. I mean, did she do it live, or is it just
all one shot in one day? It's pre-recorded all in one shot. And obviously, when it comes time for the playoffs, or let's just say there is an emergency, they'll have her retape it or something. But for the most part,
she does it in one shot. Yeah, she's a charming, talented kid. But you're right, $1 million for singing a song on Monday Night Football. Amazing.
It's pretty amazing. That's all I could say. And now we have to look at the standings chart. It's I don't want to show it, but we have no choice. And Jim, as we get into the NFL picks, he holds the crown with 13-7, and Eli at 9-11. Any thoughts on this?
Hey,
Jim?
Listen, I'm getting used to that crown. That crown feels good on my head right now.
Heavy is it, Jim? Heavy?
The old saying is heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? So
hopefully we'll see how your week goes this week. And now it's time for NFL.
Yeah, picks. So I had a good week last week. I was 4-0, so that was good.
And I was 2-2. I don't want to bring that up, but I did.
That's okay.
So time to pick the games.
I got 4 games this week that we're going to pick. So I got the first one is Cincinnati Bengals Sunday night against the Giants.
Sunday Night Football, 8:20 NBC.
And I know Cincinnati's been struggling. They're 1-4 or whatever they are, but I think they're going to come to town and actually beat the Giants.
Really?
Yes, I do. Listen, I'm not just a homer. I'm giving my honest opinion that I think Joe Burrow is going to snap out of this slump and pick apart some of the Giants on defense. So I'm taking Cincinnati in that upset right there. And now the other one is the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. And you and I we would talk about it a little bit before, and we talked about it before the show, that Buffalo is kind of struggling right now, but don't rule them out. They still have Josh Allen. I know he's going through kind of a little down period of time, but I think he's going to bounce back. And all the turmoil with the Jets, so I look for Buffalo to come to town and beat up the New York Jets, and I couldn't be happier because I'd love to see them do that and stick it to Aaron Rodgers. So that's game 2. And now here's another game. We talked about this a little bit before the show as well. With Washington, we just talked about Jaden Daniels and Baltimore. Baltimore looks really, really good right now. And I can't deny that Lamar Jackson is tough to corral. He can run, he can throw. He still needs to come up big in the playoffs, which he hasn't done. But I like for them to bounce back and bring Washington back down to earth. So I'm taking Baltimore in that game. And then it's kind of, I don't know, it's not really an exciting game, but when you look at it, the Chargers are going to Denver. And I don't know how Denver is 3-2 because they haven't looked real good. We watched them against the Jets. That was a horrible, horrible game. And people keep lauding Justin Herbert. He's got to start breaking out. He's got to start winning football games. And I think they're going to do that this week by going to Denver and winning. So I'm taking Cincinnati, Buffalo, Baltimore, and the LA Chargers.
So we're doing the Chargers game, not the Packers, right?
I'm sorry?
Chargers game we're picking, correct?
Yeah, Chargers.
Okay. So, all right, we'll fix that later. All right, so let's get to my picks. We're going to start off with this one. Before that, we do have a comment. It is from Guy Coriano, a sign that we are close to the end of the monetary season.
Monetary system.
All righty. Well, either way, bottom line, let's get to my picks. Commanders Ravens 1 o'clock on CBS. Thanks for watching, of course. What a great game that is. Commanders really trying to stay in it to win it. The Ravens are in a big fight right now, but they've been forcing a lot of overtime games. And for those reasons, for my upset pick of the week, the Washington Commanders will beat the Baltimore Ravens 38-35 in a close one.
Wow. Okay.
The next game on the list, Chargers Broncos 4:05 on CBS. Both these teams really good, but to me, Denver's on a hot streak, and there's no Russell Wilson, so I think Denver's going to take care of business here. I'm going to take the Denver Broncos 24-18.
Okay.
Next game, Giants Bengals 8:20 NBC. Listen, the Bengals have been struggling and are lucky to get the win that they've gotten. And the Giants came into Seattle hot and looking real good. And for those reasons, give me the New York Football Giants to take care of business 24-22.
Wow.
And now the final game, Bills Jets, Monday Night Football, 8:15 ESPN. Originally, I wrote down in my notes the New York Jets would win the football game, but then Robert Saleh got fired. For those reasons, they're not going to be the same old Jets that they were these past 5 games. Give me Buffalo 24-20. So I'm taking the Commanders, Broncos, Giants, Buffalo to win the games this weekend. And I think we've agreed on one game this whole week, Jim. It'll be really exciting to see how this plays out.
Well, it's gonna turn the tide on who wears the crown for sure. Because we
100%.
Yeah. All right, good picks though. Let's see how it all pans out.
All right.
And Eli, let's just stick to football for one more minute or two. Because I told you I actually sent you a picture, and we'll post it up later. But high school football is so exciting. I went to see my St. Joe's team travel to Don Bosco and play, and Don Bosco was 2-3. They lost to the number 1 team, Bergen Catholic, last week. But St. Joe's, they gave it their all. It was a great game, 35-28. Don Bosco beat St. Joe's last night. So it's just so exciting. The atmosphere, it was a Friday night game and under the lights, perfect weather. High school football is really exciting in the state of New Jersey right now.
And it really is. And I'm on the call for the St. Mary game. I'm doing the public address announcing for this game today, as they will be home to take on the Pompton Lakes Cardinals in a crossover game. This will be really exciting. Can't wait to be on the call. High school sports been exciting. What a game it was last night for your St. Joe's. And we're getting to the finals, and we cannot wait to see every moment unfold.
Yeah, we're gonna play. I think Bergen Catholic, number 1 team, and rightfully so. We got to play them in 2 weeks at St. Joe's, so that's a home game. So exciting as it gets. I mean, now I can understand what it was like in Texas. They made the movie Friday Night Lights and the rivalry.
There's a reason why it's Friday Night Lights for a reason.
Yeah, and it's just exciting football to watch. It really is. So I recommend, if you can get out and go catch a high school game, go see St. Mary's knock off Pompton Lakes today.
Absolutely. Great. I love the attitude.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Eli. So let's move on. We got some random points, which of course is sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. I have a couple here.
Me too.
Yeah. So, I brought up this Jabril Peppers situation, which is very disturbing, but I don't want to go into that. But an observation, and the marketing, um, like I said, the Yankees have this a logo on their uniforms right now that so they're paying this, and I'm not even going to promote the name. I'm not going to even say the name because I'm so opposed to it. I'm a traditionalist at heart, and the Yankees uniform is one of the great pinstripe uniforms of all time, and now they're walking billboards. And I noticed the other day, maybe I just didn't notice at all, but how could you not? There is now a logo. Some company paid for the rights to put their advertising on Major League Baseball's helmets. At first, I thought it was just the Yankees. And then I watched the other series. Every team now has a walking billboard helmet, and it drives me crazy. It takes away. And if George Steinbrenner were alive, he would not allow this to happen.
He's rolling in his grave. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, but that's really happening. I'm not gonna plug the
Absolutely.
the business, but if you watch the games, you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Rafael Nadal, and you and
Yes.
I've talked extensively. I'm a big tennis guy, and we have one of our pictures is one of the biggest tennis fans that I know, Mike Garvey. So he's announced he's going to be retiring, right? So that leaves, and then there was one, right? It was Federer, it was Nadal, it was Djokovic for what, 15, almost 20 years of incredible tennis. The guy's a class act, and I wish him all the best. It's an end of an era, certainly in tennis. And we talk about the young guns coming around, the Sinners and the Fritzes and all these young kids, but there'll never be a guy like Rafael Nadal or Federer or that kind of rivalry, which just, what a career he's had. I wish him all the best. Also, from a tennis perspective, and this was kind of shocking. Francis Tiafoe, who's an up and coming, and if you want to be, considered one of the elite guys, I mean, you never saw this with Nadal or Federer, but he went on this tirade, this expletive-laced tirade against the umpire in the Shanghai Open, and it was, if you watch it, you go, what are you thinking? You know the world is watching. What are you thinking by dropping F-bombs all over the place? And that is poor sportsmanship and a bad reflection. And that actually is the complete opposite of the way Rafael Nadal handled himself. And he's going to have to make up for this, because I'm never going to forget it. And I'm never going to look at him the same again. Just terrible.
Absolutely.
And I have one other one, and I'm sure it was probably something you were going to bring up anyway. Jessica Campbell is now the first female coach behind the bench for an NHL franchise.
It was awesome.
A big deal. That's a big deal.
And right now, Seattle's off to a 0-1 start right now. They only played one game. So yeah.
Yep. She's now literally an assistant coach behind the bench for the Seattle Kraken. It's just that's a milestone.
Awesome.
We're seeing this all over the place. We're seeing general managers in baseball and football and
everywhere.
So, women have made big strides in the world of sports. So I wanted to bring that up.
All right. Some random points. Let's start with this. Here we go. We're going to go to the NHLs. Right now, Vegas, Winnipeg, and Utah all stand at 2-0 in the regular season. Utah Hockey Club gets their first big win in the regular season. The Devils are 2-1. Of course, they played in Prague. They won their 2 games. Rangers got a big one. They're 1-0 to start the season. Guy Coriano says Johnny Message. I said the thing wrong. I think I said it wrong.
Johnny Masich. I don't know what that. I don't know, Guy. I don't know. What does that mean? Tell us what that means. I don't know.
While he gets this comment in, the Hurricanes game that was scheduled to be in Tampa Bay today has been postponed until November due to Hurricane Milton that's happened. They will continue to play road games. They did play yesterday in Carolina, but they will not be playing in Hurricane in Tampa Bay. The reason, of course, was Hurricane Milton destroyed the area. Wasn't as bad as they predicted, which I'm so glad it was true. I really am appreciative about that. That also destroyed the roof of Tropicana Field, home to the Tampa Bay Rays. There is no update yet by the Tampa Bay Rays on whether or not they will replace that roof, they will leave it outdoors, or what the situation is. And the reason why is because in 2028, they're getting a new stadium. So that's something to watch out about. So we'll see what they decide to do. Of course, thoughts and prayers for everybody affected. Comment from Andrew. He says, good morning. Let's go, Mets. I think that's LGM.
Yeah. Oh, he's a big. I know Andrew and his brother are big Mets fans. I know that, so he's happy. I got to see Andrew last night at the game, by the way.
All right, other comments right now. Ray Ferraro, ESPN analyst, did 2 games in one day. He traveled from amazing Seattle on opening day to Utah for the first ever hockey game. A big day for travel and multi-sport call on the night for Ray Ferraro.
I like Ray Ferraro.
He's really good. I like him.
Yeah. I like him too.
Meanwhile, Igor Shesterkin from the Rangers turned down an 8-year, $84 million deal that the New York Rangers offered him. I'm a little shocked about that. I mean, Jim, you follow the Rangers more than I do. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? And
well, we talked about this last week. Actually, he wants to be the highest paid player, at least the highest paid goaltender. I think that was a fair offer when you look at his playoff record. He's definitely one of the top 2 goaltenders. Yeah, maybe Vasilevsky
active right now.
Right. So he deserves to be paid that kind of money, but turning down that kind of money, I don't know. I think that's a bad decision on his part, and it can only create resentment for Ranger fans, being that they haven't won a Stanley Cup with him.
Guy Coriano says John McEnroe. McEnroe.
Yes. No, I know what he was. I think now I understood what he was going, and I brought it up. Yes, he was a contentious, player, but he also backed it up. Francis Tiafoe hasn't won anything. McEnroe won a lot of major tournaments.
Other notes out there: Utah won its first game. On top of that, worth $120,000 worth of beer, thanks to the cheap sale of items throughout the game. Most sold in the Delta Center. That's pretty crazy to see. That was some statistic that was popped up all over the place. Other news that's happening: the Lynx won by a close one in overtime in Game 1 as they won over the Liberty 95-93 in the WNBA playoffs finals. Game 2 is on Sunday at 3 o'clock over on ABC from New York. Game 3 will be Wednesday, and if necessary, Game 4 and 5 will be on Friday and Sunday. All games are available on ESPN for the week, other than this Sunday's game on ABC.
Wow,
Natalia Nakasi has been hired to be the first newest WNBA coach, head coach for the Golden State Valkyries. Valkyries. I gotta
Valkyries.
Tongue twister there. Other news out there: Danny Green will be retiring from the NBA after 15 seasons.
Yeah.
Two other news: Sham Charania has replaced Adrian Wojnarowski as ESPN's senior NBA insider. So that's pretty big news out there. And the final one, since there's no more Christmas tree shop, as we all know, you can't go to the store now to purchase Christmas items for the holiday season. Well, Spirit Halloween has announced that they will transform select stores into Spirit Christmas. So we'll see if their merchandise is better than a Christmas tree shop and better than its Spirit Halloween thing, but some Spirit Halloween stores will turn into Spirit Christmas. And that's random points for you.
Okay, wow. Got a lot of those there.
All right. That's it. Let's go to entertainment segment sponsored by Vital Selections. Scan the QR code to learn more.
Yep. And I got a movie recommendation. And like I said, I know Mr. Coriano's listening, and he's still scratching his head that he can't watch Rudy. I don't understand this, but
busy schedule, Mr. Coriano.
Okay. So I'm bringing up a movie that it's just one of my favorites. Abbott and Costello. I mean, great comedy duo for many, many years. Used to watch the show, but there's a movie called Hold That Ghost. And we're talking about this particularly because it's Halloween season. So I wanted to bring that up. It's a great movie, funny, clever. So it's Hold That Ghost. I think it was 1940 41, something in that area. But very funny movie. I recommend that. What's
All
your
right.
movie?
Well, it's going to be TV show / radio. So first off, TV show, Celebrity Wheel of Fortune Press Rock were set to premiere on Monday. Now, due to the ABC simulcast, that's being pushed back to 2025 and select where this year.
Mm.
Meanwhile, I'm gonna just my pick for this week is not gonna be a movie, not TV show. My favorite radio show to listen to, and it's not sports, believe it or not. My favorite show actually is Elvis Duran and Z100 Morning Show. That's my radio pick for the week. Do you ever have like that one show you just listen to in the mornings, and that's it, Elvis Duran and Z100 Morning Show?
I actually do. When like I told you, I don't listen to many sports shows because I think this is the best sports show there is.
Of course, absolutely.
But,
So that's why I listen to radio stuff and music, and
but in my commute, and I told you this before, that the one show I do listen to is Boomer and Geo. I like them. I like the fact that um, Geo is funny and Boomer's a former MVP in the National Football League, so I like that show. But they have a lot of commercials, so when I don't like to listen to commercials, so I flip over to your show, Elvis Duran and the morning
it's
show.
good. I like
Yeah, it's
it.
not
It's
bad.
funny.
It's not
Comedy. A guy Coriano comment says unreal.
bad.
No comment there. All right, let's get to some photos.
Yes. So that's my daughter Danielle. I wanted to post that up because her birthday's coming up rapidly, and she's a beautiful kid, and she's mine. So I'm can't wait. Now here, picture from last night. That's you sports fans might recognize him as Super Bowl winning quarterback Phil Simms of the New York Giants, who happened to be at the St. Joe's Don Bosco game last night. So I had an opportunity to talk with him for a few minutes, and
That's awesome.
yeah, he was kind enough to take a picture. His son is a former quarterback at Don Bosco, and obviously Chris Simms, his other son, is on the Sunday Night Football show. And I mentioned before from the world of tennis, no one's bigger than. I got a picture of Mike Garvey and his two boys, so there's 3 loyal listeners in one picture, and I wanted to post that up. And thankfully they're okay. Mike lives down in Naples, so it was a tenuous situation there with the Milton and Helene and so forth, but they're okay. And just wanted to put that picture up there as well.
We have another comment from Guy Coriano. I'm going to try to make it to the Bergen game today. That's
That would be
awesome. Keep us
great.
posted
That would be
on how
great to
that
see
game
him
goes,
there.
Guy.
You bet. Hope you can make it, Guy.
All right.
You know where we'll be before the game. So yeah, so those are the pictures. And yes, Sims was a nice guy last night. And we talked to him for a few minutes, and I thank him for taking the picture with us. So that was good. All right, Eli, we're going to move on to our notable passings, which of course is not to take the wind out of the sails of the show. It's just to have make mention of people that have made an impact. Couple from the world of sports, Louis Tiant. Now, I know you don't know who Louis Tiant was, but I got to see him play for the Red Sox against the Yankees during that rivalry in the 70s. And, really a great pitcher. He was 229 and 172 with 3.30 ERA. He had one of the most unique deliveries in baseball history, the way he would twist his body on the mound before he threw the ball. He was 83 years old, and always a classy guy. So that was notable for me. One of the former members of the New York Jets sack exchange with Marty Lyons, Joe Klecko, and Mark Gastineau was Abdul Salam, and he passed away. He was 71 years old. He's kind of the forgotten one of that group, but he was also a formidable football player. That's a big loss for Jets Nation, if you will. He was 71, as I mentioned. And another one from now, I certainly know you don't remember Pat Fisher, but Pat Fisher was a very small. He was only 5'9". He was a cornerback for the Washington Redskins. Played a couple Super Bowls, and my brother was talking with him. He had an opportunity to meet Pat Fisher, but he had a great career, 16-year career in the NFL, and he was 84 years old, and he came out of Nebraska. And this is a guy that played with his heart, and to play that position against guys like Harold Carmichael, who was 6'8", and he was only 5'9", but he held his own. He was a classy player. He was 84 years old. And two other ones, notables, outside the world of sports, was Whitney Houston's mother, Sissy,
Yes.
passed away. Right, very talented gospel singer in her own right, and so forth. And she was 91, so she led the good life. And also, Ethel Kennedy passed away, and Ethel Kennedy was Robert Kennedy's wife and the mother of RFK Jr. She was 96 years old. She was in failing health, but another Kennedy goes by the wayside. So those are the notable passings for this week.
All right. Well,
You
we
have
do have
any?
a program alert for next week. We'll be live next week on Friday at 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
not Saturday. We'll be live Friday at 10:18 at 7 o'clock. So we hope you join us right here on the Sports Mono YouTube channel or on Facebook, wherever you're watching.
Well, and the reason for that is Eli does his community service, and like I said, creative with the pink banners for Breast Cancer Awareness Week. So I know you have a big event next Saturday.
The school and I will be participating in the breast cancer walk at MetLife Stadium. We hope that even if you're not part of the St. Mary team, try to reach out, try to go to the game, to the walk, and we really appreciate the breast cancer, of course. Support breast cancer and the big cause for it, and don't forget to donate as always to the cause.
Yeah, and by the way, when we think about, we talked about the fact that we couldn't do it Saturday, so we were debating whether we do it Sunday. But there's so much to talk about on a
so that's why
Saturday,
Friday night makes it better, and it's prime time under the lights, Jim.
Friday Night Lights, right?
Friday Night Lights indoors, exactly. What's so better about
Eli and Jim. No, so yeah, we're going to do that next Friday night. So this way we could talk about the upcoming, the results of college football, and then the big games that'll be next week. So this is a rarity for us. So hopefully you can adjust your calendars accordingly, and looking forward to our first Friday night show.
All right. Cannot wait. And we thank you all for watching, and we will see you all next week.
All right, Eli, listen, good luck today with your St. Mary's, and we'll talk about and give another plug for the your breast cancer walk next week on Friday night. Thanks for everything.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
And listen, folks. Bye. Send us an email at sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.com. We'd love to hear it.
All right. Take care, everyone.